chat as we go, and Ross is going to help manage those, and then we'll have a full Q&A at the end. So with that, over to you, Sawyer.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Shannon. And thank you all for being here with us today and letting us borrow some of your meeting time to share a little bit more about our program. So my name is Sawyer Berrigan, and I have the privilege of serving as our outreach manager here for the Working Families Tax Credit. And then I have one of my fantastic colleagues here with me, Stephanie. Stephanie, would you mind just briefly introducing yourself here?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Sawyer. So my name is Stephanie Mora, and I am the lead outreach specialist for the Working Families program with the outreach, and I am located in Yakima.
Yes, thank you so much for that, Stephanie. And we're going to be doing a team presentation today, so you'll get to hear from a little bit of both of us. And thank you all as well for dropping your names and offices in the chat. It's really great to see folks from all over the state. So again, welcome. So for our presentation today, we're going to take about 20 to 30 minutes to tell you a little bit more about our program, how you can help encourage customers to apply, and where you can help refer them to get assistance. And then we'll also save some time at the end for any questions that you all may have. So with that, we can go ahead and jump in here to learn a little bit more about the Working Families Tax Credit, which is a tax refund here for Washington workers. So first, if you aren't familiar with our program yet, no worries. We're going to tell you a little bit more about it. So the Working Families Tax Credit was actually passed in 2022 and started in 2023. And what this tax credit does is it actually provides a refund of a portion of sales tax to our low and middle income earners here in the state of Washington. So folks, for tax year 2025, so the taxes you're doing here this year, can receive up to $1,330 for those that meet eligibility requirements. And we'll talk about those here in a little bit. So our payments are actually based on both income level and the number of qualifying children in your household. There are some definitions there that we'll share with you all as well. And if folks haven't applied yet, even for prior years, don't worry, there's still plenty of time for customers to apply. So as you can see here on the bottom of this slide, customers actually have up to 3 full calendar years to apply for Working Families. So they can apply retroactively. So right now in calendar year 2026, we actually have 4 applications open for Working Families, 2022, 2023, 2024, and then 2025, that current year. So you can see the deadlines here. For 23, 24, and 25, folks still got some time, a little over a year at the soonest. But our big message to folks right now is, of course, apply for the current year, but go back and look at that 2022. This is actually the first year that one of our refunds is expiring. So customers have until December 31st, 2026 at midnight to claim their 2022 Working Families Tax Credit. So that's a little bit about our program and kind of some high-level information there. I always, and Stephanie and I like to start these presentations off, but just kind of sharing and addressing kind of some of the misconceptions around tax credits and how they may affect our customers. So first on the left, what Working Families is. So the Working Families Tax Credit, as I mentioned, is an annual refund of a portion of sales tax that folks have already paid here in the state. As you can imagine, and you all might even yourselves be like, how are you refunding money? We don't have an income tax. So it's actually based on that sales tax that folks have paid here in the state. The second bullet here is that this is actually completely separate from your federal tax filing. So a lot of times people think, oh, this might be a way to decrease my overall tax obligation. Nope, this is separate. It's a state program, so separate from those federal taxes. And then, of course, most importantly, this is money that recipients get to keep in their pocket and can use for however they like. These are unrestricted funds. We hear from folks all the time, they're using it for back to school supplies. It's about that time of year, clothing, catching up on bills, or even finally fixing that car that has been in need of repair. So really great that folks can use this money however they see fit. Then on the other side, to kind of share a little bit more about what our program isn't. We see this especially in languages other than English, but oftentimes the word credit directly translates to like a loan or a line of credit. So we definitely want to emphasize this is not any of those. It's not a loan or a line of credit. You don't have to pay this money back ever, right? This is yours to keep. Again, I mentioned this earlier, it's not a deduction for other taxes owed, so this is a separate program there. And then lastly, as of right now, this program does not count as a public charge. So if folks are pursuing immigration or work authorization, as of right now, the Working Families Tax Credit does not count as a public charge. Okay, so I've shared a little bit of high-level information here about the program. Now it's time to jump into some of the nitty-gritty details about who actually qualifies for working families. So as you can see here, we do have a couple requirements for folks to be eligible for our program. The first is that you do have to file your federal taxes for whichever year you're planning on applying for. So if you're planning on applying for this current year, tax year 2025, you will just have to make sure to have those federal taxes completed before you apply. The second is that our program, kind of separate from other tax credit programs, is actually open to both Social Security number holders and folks who have that individual taxpayer identification number, or ITIN. You often see these ITINs for folks who are either newer here to the country or the state and are working on that work authorization, or even folks think about like migrant workers, right? Especially out on our farms in central and eastern Washington, being able to kind of travel in and out for work purposes. So our program is open to those folks as well. The third requirement there you can see is meeting requirements for the federal earned income tax credit, or EITC, or would have qualified if you had an I-10. The fourth is that you must live in Washington state for at least 183 days, or about 6 months, of the year in which you're applying. So a common misconception, a lot of people think that they have to be here for the full year in order to apply. You actually only have to be here for over half the year, or those 6 months. And then the last requirement is an age requirement. So you have to be at least 25 years old or less than 65, so I like to say 25 to 64, if you do not have any qualifying children in your household. If you do have qualifying kiddos, that age requirement does not apply. So if you're 18 with qualifying kiddos or 66 with qualifying kiddos, you may be eligible to apply for working families. So those are our 5 requirements for our program. This slide here gives you a little bit of a better idea about those income thresholds that I mentioned on the last slide. So at the top left, you see our table for tax year 2022, and then you'll see the tax year 2025 on the right. I'll kind of walk you through how to read this chart. So that for this left column is going to be our number of qualifying children. So that's the number of kiddos that you have in your household. You will notice that it stops at 3. So 3 plus is going to be that maximum kind of band limit that we have currently. So 0, 1, 2, or 3. That next column over, that's a single head of household or married filing separately. And then that one next to it, married filing jointly. Those are going to be the number of the income thresholds, I should say, the maximum income that a customer can have in order to qualify for working families. So if we're looking here at tax year 2022, if I had 1 kiddo and I was single, I could make that $43,492, and I could receive up to $600 in working families refund there for that year. And then, as I just mentioned, those maximum credit amounts are there on the right side. You might notice that both the income thresholds and the maximum credit amounts have gradually increased over the first 4 years of our program. This is actually tied to the rate of inflation and matches the changes done by the Internal Revenue Service, or the IRS, at the federal level. So that's kind of how you read these charts and be able to tell if you or your customers are eligible. So we do not expect you all to memorize those income thresholds. Right on our website, that's just wftc.wa.gov. We have an eligibility tool. It's a big blue button that says see if you qualify. You can click that, and within 5 questions, it will tell you whether or not you qualify for working families. I always say bring a copy of your tax return when you check that. It helps make it go a little bit faster. But really great that we have this tool here, and encourage you all and your customers to check it out and see if you might qualify for any of our tax refunds. So we've told you a little bit about our program. We've told you the eligibility requirements. Now I want to share a little bit more about how customers can actually apply for our program. So first, our applications are open year-round. You can apply for Working Families Tax Credit 365 days a year. Oftentimes when people hear taxes, they think, oh, if I didn't do it in April, I can't do it anymore. You can apply year-round for our program, which is fantastic. There are 3 ways to apply, but 4 different avenues. The first way to apply is online on our website. So we utilize MyDOR with the Secure Access Washington account. I'm sure you all, and I'm sure most of your customers are pretty familiar with those SAW accounts. So they can utilize that existing or create a new login to apply online. Currently, our online application is only available in English and Spanish, but we are working every year to add more languages to that online application. All of our field offices around the state do have computers and printers, as well as front desk staff that can assist customers with any questions that they might have while completing those applications at the kiosk. So that's the first way, is to apply for free online using MyDOR. The second is the modernized e-file, or as many of us know them, tax preparation services or tax preparers. I don't know about you all, but a lot of folks don't do their taxes on their own. A lot of people either go in to an actual preparer or they'll use an online platform. Think, for example, TurboTax, TaxSlayer, or even Free Tax USA. There are some free options out there. So a lot of folks are utilizing those. I am happy to report that many of those online softwares do actually already incorporate Working Families right into their software. So it makes it super easy for the customers who utilize those to apply for Working Families. The other option we always love to uplift is that there are a ton, and I mean a ton, of free tax preparation services based all around the state of Washington. So you may have heard of the VITA sites or AARP sites. Those are really popular across the state. But there's also online providers as well that allow you to file for free. So encourage you all, your customers, to take a look at those routes. The third way folks can apply then is by paper. So the good old paper application. We currently have applications available in over 13 languages for our paper applications. So lots of opportunity and access points there. And you can actually download these applications or get them mailed to you for free from our website, or you can always stop into one of our field offices and pick those up. My team, so Stephanie and her colleagues that she helps lead, we put on a series of application sites all around the state all year round. This last year, we established a little over 100 unique application sites across the year. And that's ranging from, big sites out in Western Washington, King County, Clark County, all the way up to San Juan Islands. But also all the way down into our small rural counties, in Pend Oreille, and everything in between. So our motto is to meet our customers where they are and encourage folks to take a look, see where we'll be, or they can reach out to us directly and we can help get them in contact with a specialist for application assistance. And then what folks will need to apply, very similar to a lot of other tax filing, they'll just need a copy of that federal tax return, those Social Security or individual taxpayer numbers, dates of birth for all those who are applying, so you, your spouse, and your kiddos, if applicable, driver's license or photo ID number, your current mailing address, just in case we need to communicate with you. And then there are 3 payment options. We can do a mailed check, we can do a direct deposit for routing an account number, or we can do a physical card as well. So a couple of different options folks can pick there. And then their signatures. So we always say about 30 to 90 days is going to be typical for our processing. If you all are familiar with our program, you may have seen some communications from us. We have just had a record-setting year this year, so it is taking us a little bit longer for us to be able to get through our applications. But if folks have questions or are still waiting for an update, please encourage them to give our call center a call. We're more than happy to provide those up-to-date statuses for their applications. And then my last slide here before I turn it over to Stephanie is really, why should folks apply for Working Families? So kind of three main areas here. The first is that, of course, stimulates local economic activity. Again, this is a refund of a portion of sales tax that has already been paid within our counties, our cities, and our state. And so these dollars go right back into the communities. I think that really provides something unique, right? In that we know many of these dollars are going right back into the communities where they came from. And then, of course, our customers and our local businesses benefit, right? More money in people's pockets means more money going into the businesses. Second is, of course, to promote equity. As I mentioned at the top, our program's open to anyone who lives and works in Washington, regardless of their immigration status or job type. And so what that really does is opens up the door, right, to folks who maybe haven't been eligible for other programs previously. And we use those clear guidelines and policies to help us determine that eligibility. And then lastly, of course, this supports financial stability and general well-being. Direct, flexible cash can really help meet those essential needs. Again, folks often have a laundry list in their mind of things that they need to spend on. And so being able to utilize that. And this is an annual refund. So folks can receive this money once a year and allows them to kind of use it how they would like. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Stephanie to talk a little bit more about our team and ways you can get involved. So Stephanie, go ahead.
For sure. Thank you, Sawyer. All right. So to go along with that, we also want to share a map of the outreach specialists across the state. So as you can see, there are 6 regions within Washington State, and I am in charge of Region 4. I cover all of the Tri-Cities, Clickitat, and the Yakima area. And just like me, there are other specialists scattered across the state. The beautiful thing about our outreach team is that every single member of the outreach team is bilingual. We have multiple Spanish speakers in the team, but we also have a person that speaks Vietnamese and a person that's fully bilingual in Russian. So if you happen to have customers with that specific language need, you can always connect them with us, even though we might not be in your specific region. So we can jump to other regions if needed for language assistance. And we're always here, happy to help wherever we can. You can go to the next slide. And these are just some of the photos from outreach events that we have attended in our own regions. As you can see, we're often invited to multiple events throughout the year. We're constantly on the move. Our outreach nickname is Busy Bees because we're constantly moving and buzzing like bees. We're always busy. So these are some of the photos that we have taken in the past from some engagements. And then our outreach efforts, there's multiple ways in how we engage with community and just people in general. We often are a representation of the regions that we live in. Each of us lives very close to where we serve. So we are very connected, very aware of the barriers and needs of the communities that we serve. We do multiple events, presentations, speaking engagements. Often we do application drives, like Sawyer was mentioning, we assist people with the application. And sometimes we put our own events together. So if we know there's X number of people needing assistance with the application, maybe we'll just organize an event and show up and help people apply for free. Some of our community partners that we have partnered with in the past, of course, includes a large number of state agencies like DSHS, ESD. Of course, we work with school districts, community-based organizations, because they are trusted messengers, with cities, tribal governments, and volunteer tax preparers. We do have multiple tools on our website for language support, and we also do have a contract with the company to call for an interpreter if needed. So if somebody speaks a different language other than the ones we speak, that's no barrier for us to assist someone. We can always call and get somebody on the phone. And then we also have an active advisory committee that's made up of people from our community, members of your communities that provide insight about things that are happening within the community. And they often try to tackle some of these challenges and provide advice or how we can better our program. And then these are some of the communication tools that you can find on our website. I highly encourage you to visit our website to find more information. But some of the information you can find is application assistance and videos, educational videos as to how to apply. You can use our eligibility checker. So if you are wondering for yourself or someone you know whether they could be eligible for the program. You can play with the eligibility checker tool. It's super easy. It will just answer a few questions and it will let you know right away whether or not you're eligible. We also have a community partner toolkit. On that toolkit, you can find anything from flyers, posters, rack cards, and you can request for us to mail them directly to your offices for free. You don't have to pay for shipping, and they're really nice and glossy, so you don't have to waste your ink. You can also find a section for frequently asked questions, especially for those ITIN filers. If this is something that tricks your interest, then if you're just interested in knowing more about that, you can click on that. And you can also request a speaker to do a presentation like we're doing today here with Sawyer. So if you're interested in bringing this information to your organizations or to your community members, you can let us know. We'll be more than happy to come and provide a presentation, either English or Spanish or whatever language you may need. You can always request in-person support from one of us. We're always available and happy to drive to wherever you are. And I also invite you to check our event calendar so you can see where our next event is going to be. All of the outreach specialists are often attending community events, so you can always see where the next event will be, and then maybe you can stop by and say hi. And then these are just some of the reminders and resources links for our page. Again, Sawyer will probably put the link in the chat so you can see our website. And then our contact information. We have multiple offices throughout the state, not just in Vancouver or Yakima. We are all over. So if you have any questions, you can always stop by one of our field offices and request more information in person. And I think that's pretty much it. So now we can open it up for questions, Sharon, if anybody has questions. Thank you.
Thank you both so much, Stephanie and Sawyer. That was a really great presentation. And yeah, are there any questions from anybody on the call? I'm really happy to hear that you have like that this was a bigger year than prior, that you have more applicants. So all of that outreach that you're doing is really paying off, that it's becoming more people are becoming aware of this opportunity.
Yeah, thanks for saying that, Shannon. And yeah, by all accounts, just been a record-setting year, right? I know economic security for all is a little bit newer, so you all know what it's like to be a newer program. But yeah, our first year, I think, Stephanie, please correct me if I get the numbers wrong. I think we were at about probably like 190-ish thousand households that had applied. This year, we just crossed 355,000 applications.
That is incredible.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's great. And I'm so happy that we're gonna be able to get this money out to folks, right? But our staff has not increased comparatively, right? I know that we all know that here in State Gov. So we're just really excited that more folks are hearing about us and that we're getting those funds, but hoping to get those dollars out to them as soon as we can.
So you're a little bit busy, is what you're saying.
Yeah, especially our processing teams for sure. We always stay busy as outreach, but those processing teams are working hard for sure.
Yeah, well, we appreciate that, and I definitely know that a lot of our all of our partners in the regions, the WDCs and their subcontractors, that this is something that they'll be talking to their participants about it. And I know that a lot of them are familiar, and then this just increases the awareness for more connectivity. So, are there any questions from anyone out there? Oops, I'm going to stop the recording.